Good evening, folks. Welcome to What Can You Do in 17 Minutes. Tonight we're going to be doing a little bit of salmon with little neck steamed clams. We're going to have a sriracha and honey glazed salmon. We're going to sear that and throw the glaze on when we're finished. We're going to have a tier style clam. That is a Mediterranean recipe I've been doing for a while. It's going to be clams, capers, garlic, basil, flat broadleaf, parsley, and tomatoes. So let's get the clam started first because they're going to take the most time. Got a little bit of olive oil over here. I'm going to try not to set the smoke alarm off this way. You have a fan here? Now I saute the clams just for a few minutes because the heat will help the clams open up quicker. And it happened again. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I'm 2 for 2. Meanwhile, we had the parsley, the basil, the garlic, the capers, and the tomatoes. We'll let all that cook. So why I limited just the steam from the cooking liquid will help the clams to cook a little bit quicker. I'm just going to let that stay on there for about another 5 or 10 minutes. Meanwhile, we have our salmon over here, a little bit of salt on top of that. Save some of the tomatoes, put those aside for later use with the tomatoes, or with the salmon, I apologize. The glaze is just simply a little bit of sriracha, a little bit of honey. We're going to mix that together in our 50-50 portion. As soon as it comes to a boil, we'll be good to go. We'll start the salmon. This is a farm-raised salmon. You can use wild salmon. I prefer wild salmon, but unfortunately it was not available this evening. This is very nice because it was already cut down into fillets for you, ready to go. All the bones are out, the skin is off. It's a really good product. Again, we're trying to make these meals in 17 minutes or so. It's worth to pay the extra money to have that already processed and ready for you. So, right along, we're getting a nice little boil going on that, so we're going to let that just chill out for a minute. Put a little bit more olive oil in the pan. Nice. Seeing one cracked over there because of the heat, that's really not a big deal. Now, what you do have to worry for, if you ever buy clams or shellfish, for that matter, and they are opening, and you whack them on the back like that and they don't close, you want to get rid of that because that means that the animal has passed away. These are live. As you can see now, they're starting to open up. Okay, once they start to open up, then you're in business. Just gonna let that go. Meanwhile, we're gonna put over to our salmon. About 2 or 3 minutes per side. These are thinner pieces. What I'm looking for here is I want to get a nice bit of coloring on the presentation side of the salmon, and once that happens, then I'm going to flip it over and apply the glaze to it. Now, me personally, I like my salmon medium rare, but with the thickness of the salmon and the fact that we need to get that glaze on there, we're probably going to look at more of a medium. If you have a thicker cut of salmon, it's easier to get that desired medium rare. Always nice and clean as you go. That way you get invited back again. Let's see where we are here. Yeah, we're not quite there yet. Give it a little bit more time. And my clams are over here clamming. All nice and happy. Starting to open up here. It's going to be good. Now, this is a dish I've made for several years in the restaurants. Like I said, it's a Mediterranean dish called Tier, T-I-E-R style clams. Now, normally I would serve this when the broth is finished cooking. I would hit it with a generous amount of butter and serve it with a nice crispy long slice of French bread slathered in butter and topped with some Parmesan cheese and grilled off. But as we know that we're going for the healthy approach to this, so we're going to omit the butter and the bread. But if you wanted to, it's a nice little touch at the very end. So we have our sriracha and honey mixture. Now, a lot of people don't like a lot of spiciness, but when you mix the honey with the sriracha like that, it really cuts the heat. So you are going to get a little kick, but the honey, the sweetness of the honey is going to downplay that a lot. So we're just going to let that go for a little bit. These are almost ready. That'll work. All right. That salmon is just about done. So we started about what? 7:18, 7:17, somewhere around here? No time at all. All right. So. No, I'm just thinking. Now, real quick, if you notice, I had the raw salmon on this cutting board, and I want to transfer the cooked salmon back over here. Unfortunately, the majority of foodborne illnesses, food poisoning and things like that, come from in the home, from unsanitary conditions. So anytime you deal with anything raw, as far as meat or fish, at the very least, flip the cutting board over. If you can, change cutting boards, because that's when people get sick, and food poisoning is not fun. So I'm going to flip that over. Now what I'm doing is considered deglazing the pan. I'm getting all the nice goodness that was stuck on the pan from cooking the salmon in the glaze, and I'm getting that off and incorporating that into, this looking real good, incorporating that into the tomatoes. All right, so that's finished. That's done. That's done. So let's get the plate up going on. See, we have a nice, it's almost medium rare. See, the thing about when you trust your fish purveyor and you know you're getting a fresh quality fish, you can serve fish, especially like a salmon, at a medium rare or a rare, and being assured that you're going to have a safe, good quality product to feed to your family. It's all about the presentation. You know, it only takes a little bit of time and a little bit of creativity to make something very simple look really good. A little bit of the broth. And there you go. And that is the finished product. So we have our sriracha and honey seared salmon. We have our tier style clams with capers, tomatoes, basil, parsley, and fresh garlic. All right, folks. Until next week, this is Jason Moss. Enjoy.